All right, I have the link. Let me just give you guys the link for the broadcast. Let me just give you guys the link. Okay, there's the link. All right, a pleasant good evening to everyone. You're welcome to this evening's class. Today is Saturday, the 30th of April, 2020, and I welcome you to this evening's class. This evening's session is an open discussion. We're going to do an open discussion this evening, and we're doing an open discussion, and it's going to be based on your progress and anything that you have to ask me, basically. So with that being said, I'm going to open the floor with some thoughts. Currently, we're experiencing a lot of stuff globally, shifting in so many different areas, and there's so many things that the youth and young people and persons have to deal with as a result of the changes. But the class of Steele, we've been going on now for almost, well, close to 1 year, this youth session. And I want to ask just for you to give me a little bit of feedback on where you're at, and if there are any questions that you would have for me, or any thoughts that you are that you're thinking about that we can discuss this evening. So I think, and it can be on any subject pertaining to what's happening right now with the worldwide or pandemic, whatever it is, and we're just going to have open discussion this evening. I'm glad that I actually have Ruth and Elizabeth in China. Ruth, are you there? Ruth in China, are you there? Hello?
Yes, His Excellency.
Good evening. How are you doing?
Fine, His Excellency. It's Elizabeth talking.
Oh, hi, Elizabeth. Ruth is with us as well?
Yes, she's with us. She will be here soon.
Okay. Elizabeth, I want to bring you in on the discussion for this evening, you and Ruth specifically, because as you know, there's so much chaos that's going on globally. And the news that you have on your side, we don't have it. We don't have access to it. As a matter of fact, very interesting thought. The news there is in English, Ruth, or only in Chinese, if I should ask, because I'm not sure how it works.
It's majority of the news is in Chinese, but there are platforms that actually broadcast news in English language, like it's being translated from Chinese to English language. There are a few platforms that we have that do that.
Okay, so you guys are not, as you would say, ostracized in a language barrier. There's news and different things that you get access to easily that are in English, yeah?
Yes, Your Excellency, but not like maybe not every news that is being translated. So some you really have to get it by yourself in Chinese and look how to translate it into English language.
How good is your Chinese so far?
So far for me, Elizabeth, I can say I'm average. Like I can understand certain things, like, but when it comes to certain terms, like major terms, maybe legal terms, as I'm doing law, I cannot really handle the legal terms. But average life, talking daily, I understand. So I can say I'm average.
You're
For
average. Okay.
yes.
Now, give us are you aware of the war and stuff what's happening in Russia and Ukraine at the moment? You are aware from the news that is there?
Yes, yes, I'm aware from the news that is here, and but mostly I got to know more about it from international broadcasting, not really from Chinese broadcast news.
Okay. Is there any updates of China's like participation, or is there anything that you're hearing that the Chinese are doing or pertaining to your relationship with Russia? Or is there anything at all that is being mentioned to you guys on ground?
No, nothing. We haven't. We are not aware of that.
Okay. What about the current status with the lockdown that has been going on for a while? What's the status there?
Right now, Beijing too, I hear Beijing too is like cases, and some places have been on lockdown for some time. And Shanghai is still the same case, like they are still on lockdown. And there are some other cities that I'm not really aware of, but it's not only Beijing and China, and not only Beijing and Shanghai. There are other cities too, but I think Shanghai is more affected as concerns the lockdown. And yes,
Okay. And is it kind of panic and stuff like that at the moment or no?
in Shanghai, I think the panic was about the fact that it was sudden. Like people didn't expect that there was going to be a lockdown, like locking them down, like not going out and everything for foodstuff and daily utilities. I mean, daily basic needs that you have to use. So I think people panicked about that. And also when they maybe like let them to go out get things, when you go to the shops, from the videos that I could see, you could see that the malls were like empty. There was no food, there were no those basic needs, maybe like things that you need daily. So it was like a rush. It 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 was like a rush, and people were panicked and on that towards that side. But aside, and also the morale of it, we also got a news that there is this lady from South Africa that lost her, she died. They found her in her room dead. We don't really know what happened. Right, we don't really have the exact news about what happened, but the lady, she was found dead. So I think that there should be some kind of psychological effect, and people panicked, especially for Shanghai. And yes, there's
Okay.
mm,
What about you guys where you're at? How is it? Because you're in the same country to some degree. How is it for you guys as in is life normal, moving around and traveling? Is it normal in where you're at?
yes, there were a few cases here in our city, Zhengzhou. We've had a series of testing. As usual, when there are new cases, we go through a series of testing. And we are not, for us living off campus, we are not really on lockdown. But the students that live in the university, in the dormitories of the university, they were on lockdown for some days, like they couldn't step out. The university had to bring food in for them into their dormitories so that they could have food to eat. But for us out, we were just advised not to go to crowded areas and to avoid going, like traveling out of the city. I think traveling out of the city, it has been like the case, like you can't travel out of the city freely since the COVID era started. For example, there was last year, I had to go to renew my passport because all the embassies are in Beijing.
Yeah.
And it was really a tough time to get permission from the university. And they were asking me to instead ask my embassy to write a letter to that shows that I urgently need to renew my passport. It really took a really long time before I got the permission to travel. So since the COVID era, it has been, for us foreigners, we are really restricted from traveling. And we've just been in the same city since the COVID era started.
Okay. Um, well, do you feel safe? Do you feel safe and no panic or anything like that? How do you genuinely feel in the climate of what's happening around. To be quite honest, the world has there's a major I think scare or discomfort when you think of the Chinese traveling. As a matter of fact, when I have been traveling, I noticed that they travel in these all over kind of suit things. This like how you see them walking through the towns. I see them in these all over suit things, traveling. So it has been very interesting even seeing them when they're traveling. But how do you guys, how are you guys feeling pertaining to what's happening?
For us here, as concerns traveling, it's concern what's happening about the COVID. I think we have adjusted a little bit, because at the beginning it was really stressful, knowing that, okay, you can't move freely. And even in moving freely, for example, in China, we have codes that have been made for us. You have to scan the code. There is a red, there is a green, and there is a yellow. And at a point, everybody has to have the green code. So if your code turns yellow, that means that you've gone to an area where there were like cases, not too affected. But if it turns red, means you went to a high risk zone area, and maybe you have to be quarantined, or yes, not maybe, you have to be quarantined if your code turns red. Yellow, you have to go to the hospital to do a test. And as soon as you do a test, it turns back green. So it's like a system that has been created, and I believe that we are being monitored, because if, for example, I travel out of this city and I come back, they will know, because my code will certainly turn yellow. And I use my passport as I travel, and my telephone number too. So in China here, everything is synchronized in the system in such a way that if you travel out, you even receive messages that, oh, you've been to this city, they're welcoming you into that city, and all of that. So I think that at a certain point, and from school, we also have codes that we scan every day, health codes, like every day you have to scan it. And if you don't, it is an issue. Your teacher has to call you and and all of that. So it's really been a lot of many things, changes every day, and many things that we have to adjust ourselves to concerning the COVID area. So it's been stressful a little bit, yes.
Okay, so basically, your location is always monitored, and you sign you have every day you have to put in your code.
Yes, we have to put in the code. And if you go out, yes, at 12 midnight, as from 12 midnight, like right now it's past 12 midnight, and you have to do it before 10 or 11 a.m. this morning. And when you go to the mall, like any place you step into, you have to scan the code. If it's your own apartment, you have to scan the code. Like the community where we live, you have to scan the code. And if it's yellow, you don't get into wherever you're going to.
You mean your apartment, if you're trying to come into your apartment, you have to scan the code. There's some place to scan it?
Yes, like if you're getting into the gate, the security are at the gate. If you don't scan it, you can't go in.
And if you scan it and it is yellow or another color, what happens?
If it is yellow, you have to go to the hospital to do.
They will not allow you to get into your apartment?
No, they will not allow you. Especially if it's red, they will immediately call the survey, all those that are concerned with the COVID protocols, to come and quarantine you, or I don't know the rules. And they've enacted very strict rules now that even affect even they themselves, the Chinese, fines if you violate any of the COVID protocols. They fine you. They can even imprison you. Recently, I was reading something about that. A Chinese, he traveled. I think he wasn't supposed to travel. He was fined and he was in prison for some days. So there are very strict rules for the COVID protocols, and so.
Okay.
Yes, even in buses and taxis, when you get into a taxi, you have to also scan the code. If your code is not green, they cannot allow you to get into taxi, nor the bus. So it's.
What does it look like? Have you got something to show what it looks like, what you scan with? What is it?
Yes,
Yes.
we've
What
got
is it?
a minute, Your
Yeah,
Excellency.
it's okay. You're talking to the world and you're telling us what we don't know because you're also telling us what might be coming to us as well.
All right.
Okay, where is the
Okay.
Um, I don't know if you can turn the camera so that I will
Yes.
scan your own for you. Where is the key?
I thought you found it.
The own is me.
Just go to Elizabeth.
So for those of you who are now joining us in class this evening, we're just getting updates from different countries, what's happening. Jail, we're going to come to you for South Africa to get an update on what's happening in South Africa. Agnes, we can speak with you about Nigeria. You know, oh, Agnes, you're out. Agnes is Ghana. Sorry, Agnes is Ghana.
Okay, you.
Okay, I'm looking.
Hold the phone. Yeah,
Go ahead.
yeah, Dr. Steele, this is how this is from the school. This
Yeah.
is a school code. So you press on it, then you
Turn it the
scan.
other side, Ruth. You have me twisting my head.
Oh, okay.
Oh, that's better.
Okay, thank you. All right.
Okay.
So those the red and those the green, and you don't have to tap on the green. Oh, you have to tap on the green.
Right.
Yes.
Okay.
Is your VPN on?
Okay, but you're in English, but that's in Chinese. You
This is yeah. So this is how it appears. So
okay.
you continue scanning. I think when the VPN is on, it takes time a little bit. Hold on. Yeah. And that is Elizabeth. I have done mine already. So this is Elizabeth. She hasn't done hers. So I've done it for her already.
Oh,
So this is how it looks like. You could see her name and then the Chinese characters, and it goes back to the school's code. It means she has, yes, she has filled her school, her health report, and this will be reflected on the school's system. And
okay.
each day, if you don't do this, each day your supervisor will call you to update your health code. And
Oh,
then the district health code is also here. Yeah. This is how it looks like. This green for the district.
the
This is the
district
green.
health code.
Yes.
Now you see the green.
This is the green, yeah, the yellow and the red. So you just have to agree to their terms and conditions. Then you click on the, this is how it appears.
Okay.
So you scan and send this to your supervisor. So they will all coordinate, blaze this to the district office, showing that you have scanned your code, you have not traveled to any high risk area, you have been in Janjo for all this while. Yeah. So these are the
Okay.
evidence they always take from students.
The most impressive thing for my mind, Elizabeth and Ruth, is all of that is in Chinese. Do they have it in English also?
No.
So how do you know what you're looking at and what you're reading?
Basically, we have the translation apps. So where we find it difficult, since we cannot ask our supervisors for translation and all that, and they will not translate it for you either. So you have to make use of the translation apps. So first of all, before we scan all these codes, we try to translate all those things, read them before we sign them, and then we sign those documents and send to our advisors.
So
Where we don't understand, we take a screenshot to them for explanation before we go ahead to fill any form. So this has even made us to wake up that anything they send to us, we don't just have to sign, but rather look for the interpretation, because they will never translate any form they send to students in English. No, they will never. Even our graduation process, the forms that we filled, everything was in Chinese. And not all of us can read a Chinese character so fluently. So we make use of the app. There are a lot of translation apps on the internet that you have to upload and make use of them. So that is it.
Can you send me send me a translation app that you use that's really good for Chinese to English, please? Send me a couple of them because
All
I
right.
actually am trying to learn Chinese as well. But I have the which one did this is, huh? The the there's a simplified Chinese. There's the
Yeah.
right. There's a simplified Chinese that I have been looking at doing, but send me an app because I'm going to start to take it a little bit more serious just for the sake of students. I think I need to say more than ni hao and ni hao ma and te jian and mi te jian. I think I need to know a little bit more words.
Okay. Okay. We'll send it to you. Look for those apps. What we've been using, we'll send them to you and then look for other ones and then send their names and screenshots to you as well.
Yeah, and let's see. I have something on my phone that does when I go to meetings, like I was just in Italy for meetings, and when the person is speaking, it is auto translating the Italian, and then when I
Yeah.
speak English, it auto translates it in Italian for them. So I
Yeah.
kind of have that already, but I think I want to get more knowledge on Chinese. As a matter of fact, that's one of the subjects that I do have a interest in, one of the languages. So I will go into learning, doing some more writing and reading to be more proficient. So give me a year and you'll see me speaking as fluently as possible within a year or two. All
All
right.
right. Yeah.
Well, so basically what you're saying to the world or what you're saying to us is that a person who is there and let's say they're there for a vacation, just an example, and then they get caught up in the conflict of not being able to move as fluently, it means that they will have problems while they're there if they don't know Chinese because everything is in Chinese.
Exactly. Everything is in
So they will basically be defaulting by reason of not doing it at the right time because they don't know what to do and how to do, and that would put them in problems.
Yes. Yes. So it is better if you're a foreigner new in this country, you quickly adjust and make friends so that you'll be helped.
So if you don't if you don't have a friend or somebody that is able to be right with you, you will have problems.
You really have big time problem because you default that you disobey the laws, the rules, and the Chinese, they don't joke with their rules at all. They don't joke with their laws. The moment you break their laws, it's like they see you as a criminal. Yes, you break their laws, you're a criminal. Because I remember one of my experience with one of the students who wanted to move out of campus to stay outside campus. By then, one of the house rooms in my apartment was empty. So the girl tried to come out without not knowing the permission of her supervisor. So she came, told me she wanted a house. So I connected her to my landlady. And then since I am there with another tenant, I collect the rent and then forward it to her. So she came at the verge when we were renewing our rent. And then we added her rent. And I don't know what happened on campus. It's like they traced her to where she was living and all that. They came with me with immigration officer, one school advisor, and a police. I knew they were going to arrest me because to them, I am a threat to the community that I live in. Why should I accept somebody to come and stay in the house? And there was nothing that you would say that will justify what you have done, because for them, the moment you break the rule, you have broken the rule. They see you as a criminal until one of my co-tenants explained things, how the lady came and how I even advised her to go back on campus, get the right permission before she steps out. And that was the moment when we experienced the flooding, right? The 2021 flooding, and my community was greatly affected. My building was all flooded. We all had to move out, pack our foodstuffs from our fridge. There was no light, there was no water. So we had to move out to a different place where it was much more safer. So we went to lodge with some of our friends till all the water down the basement were drained out. The system started working, the light and elevators were working before we came back. Yeah.
So they flooded the building?
It was a heavy downpour, actually. It rained heavily and the whole of Genjo was flooded. That was 2020, right? 2021. Yeah, just last year.
Okay. So question, when officers come, do they also speak English?
They speak Chinese.
That lady was not speaking English.
No, it was the advisor who spoke the English.
So
So what happened was that they don't speak the English at all. They will never speak the English with you. Yes. With the exception of, there are some exceptions. They know we are foreigners, we are not so fluent with the Chinese, but they will never ever speak the English, even if they understand. But since the advisors are working with us, they are compelled to speak the English, because if you don't speak English, how do you expect me to understand you and understand the message you are sending across to me? We will all stand there looking at each other's face. So when the officers spoke in English, it was the advisor who explained it to me. And then I also explained what happened, how she came to live in the house and all that. At a point in time, they wanted to force me to go back to live on campus. And I challenged that. One thing about the Chinese that they don't like is challenge. They don't like to be challenged. When they say do this, that is exactly what you're supposed to do. They don't like to argue. They don't like to challenge with you. When it is, whether you are right or not, what they say you should do is what you should do. So I tried not necessarily challenging them, but explaining things. They saw it to be a challenge. So there was no way I could explain myself. So I just had to keep quiet, listen to whatever they would say. And then eventually they asked me to, if I want to stay in this community, I have to refund the lady's money to her. So it was like an agreement between the lady and I. Even though I did not collect her money and squander it, her money was with the landlady, but I had to refund it to her. And they told me that they don't want the school to hear about this. Like, they don't want the payment of the money to become a big issue between the girl and I. So we should settle it amicably. So I don't know how the lady also, she was interrogated on campus. She could not defend herself well, and that brought a big problem to me. So eventually, I had to refund her money, half of it to her. And then I moved out of this community to look for a single room, because already there was nobody coming to take up that room, and I couldn't pay for an empty room that I was not using.
Okay.
Yes, so I had to move out to.
So basically what you're saying is that being there, what's that? Okay, can you hear me?
Yes, please, I can hear you.
Okay, so basically what you're saying is that the culture there, it is difficult. It is not as easy as you make it by reason of being there. It is a big challenge, and you just have to manage it the best way. So
Exactly.
in as much as you're coming there to be a student, the dynamics of coming there, they're a whole lot more. So
Exactly.
what I would want from you, Ruth and Elizabeth, is we're gonna plan, and I know you and I are supposed to talk about putting the class together where we have some other Chinese students that are interested, and with the right time. Okay, all righty, we will leave that alone. uh, to keep you safe. I think it is to keep you guys safe, because the culture seems to be one that you can find yourself in problems very easily.
Exactly. Even when it comes to worship, like worship with Sunday's worship, there is no freedom of worship here. So what we
All
do
right,
is
so let's leave that, because I don't
yeah,
want you to turn into a whistleblower. And so we appreciate what you shared with us pertaining to the current situation and what's happening. And I want to thank you for doing that. It has shined a little light on things for us, because there are some places that have some technology that I am aware of, and it is similar to exactly what you guys are doing. So as we've already discussed and discovered, that you guys are the models or the roadmap for what's happening around the world. It gets tested in China, it gets rolled out in China, and then that technology is sold to the rest of the world. And the rest of the world implements that technology. So I think that what is currently happening is being rolled out, and you've just given us a little bit of insight into what to expect and what to look for. So they're regionally, as the saying goes, they're geo mapping, and once they do their geo mapping and you go into a different region, then it is automatically picked up. And by the way, you cannot turn off your location. Is that correct? On your phone, you can't turn off your location.
no, you can't.
Because if you turn off your location, it will be problems.
Yeah.
All right. Well, with that being said, thank you so very much, Ruth and Elizabeth, for sharing with us on the behalf of China what's going on your neck of the woods. I see we have Grandmaster this evening. He's joined us in class. It's been quite a while. He's been on tournament with the martial arts for a while. Grandmaster, it's good to see you this evening. Welcome to this evening's class where we're having an open discussion. You're welcome.
Thank you, Your Excellency. Welcome to the participants, mentors of Class of Steele Youth. Thank you for the warm welcome, sir. Yes, it has been a while, but I have not forgotten, and I keep tabs and I am aware of what's going on with everybody. So kudos for everyone's participation, and definitely to you, Your Excellency, and the missus, as well as all the other mentors and leaders in the program.
All right. Well, thank you so very much for being here. And we're gonna just jump on. How was the tournament? How did Uga Vanja Kazazeri and the others perform? How was it?
There we go. Thought that'd be a little better. The tournament was beautiful. It was the Botswana national martial arts team. We went to Namibia for the United World Martial Arts Federation World Championships. It was attended by about 23 different countries. It was missing a few because of the war in the Ukraine, and a lot of those European countries were not able to fly in. But with that being said, the competition was there. Botswana itself, as a country, we came in number 2 overall, behind the host country of Namibia. We brought home 14 gold medals, 9 silver medals, and 3 bronze medals to Botswana. My particular contingent, the Wushu and the Kung Fu, we brought home 4 gold medals and 1 bronze.
Well done. Well
Thank
done.
you,
What did our boy Uja Vanja Kazaveri, did he do anything, or did Ethel, any of those guys?
Unfortunately, he did not get a chance to go. This time I went with Lafika, who's a youngster, is not part of this group.
Okay.
Tupelo, and yes, Ethel did go. She
Ethel
did
was
represent, and this was her first tournament, her first one out the door. and she is responsible for 2 of those 4 gold medals in her
Woo!
division.
So Ethel, that's in the class will see she blessed.
Yeah, that. So,
All
but
right, that's
I'm
good.
also working, Your Excellency, on some other security issues here in Botswana. And that's something, with your permission, I would like to address sometime this year. There was a study that came out. Of course, there's always studies from different platforms and different NGOs and that type of thing. But unfortunately, Botswana has once again ranked #1 in cases of rape. And that is really a big issue for me and a sore spot for me. That is the main community outreach that I do with my martial arts program. I created a program in 2018 in the native tongue, if I can say it correctly. It's called Hunsi, which means enough. And that was the brainchild after a young lady here got killed and raped at a local event, and it just did something to me. And as a foreigner living here in Botswana, I thought to myself, what could I give these young ladies to help out in the situation? Nobody knows how that young lady got into the position that she was in. However, we just see the end results. And I realize this country, because it has never gone through colonization and has never undergone conflict like our neighbors, South Africa, Namibia, Zimbabwe to the east of us, and of course Zambia. They're not really an aggressive culture. So most people here don't even know how to fight. But I've taken it on myself, sir, to teach young women ages 6 and up the basics of self-defense and personal protection. Not teaching any type of formal martial art forms and skills, but just the basics. A lot of the women, when I do seminars and that type of stuff, I ask them how many have ever been into a fight or an altercation. No hands go up at all. I'm saying, okay, well, maybe a schoolroom altercation, maybe one hand will sneak by in the back and you'll see it. But for the most part, nobody knows. Nobody knows how to make a fist, and nobody understands that there must be some level of aggression to stop aggression. You understand? And most importantly, it is the educating of the women in this culture here in Botswana, also in the African culture period here, where women sometimes are marginalized and given the status of a second-hand citizen. Rights are not equal to men in a lot of countries because of the patriarchal hierarchy that they have and have had for many years. Women are marginalized and usually victimized because of that. I don't condone stuff like that. You know, I have zero tolerance for gender-based violence and domestic violence. So just trying to educate them on the need to learn any type of self-defense. You understand? Not to go around and say I'm the biggest and the baddest, but to at least give you a fighting chance if you find yourself in a situation like that. So that's one, and I'm working closely with the United Nations here with Mr. Zia Chowdhury. I can say his name proudly. He is my community partner here he's the head of the United Nations here in Botswana. In 2021, Your Excellency, I was missing in action too during the 16 days of activism against gender-based violence. He was one of the participants in an awareness walk that the International Kung Fu and Healing Center hosted. We did that to not only bring awareness, but to also, again, teach women just the basics of self-defense. I also had other community partners with me who deal with issues of counseling after the fact, some women's shelters, because a lot of these homes where this happens, especially domestic violence, a lot of them have kids in it. So this is a year-round thing. So my hashtag for this particular program now is hashtag the other 349, which means what are you doing those other 349 days of the year other than those 16 days of activism? Because the statistics show that here in Botswana, unfortunately, and I can say this because it's public knowledge, unfortunately, there is a female being assaulted, raped every 3 minutes here in this country, and that's not a good thing. So I'm using what God has given me to at least try to arm these ladies for that, because none of them should be punching bags and doormats for a patriarchal society. So if Grandmaster's been missing in action, it's because I've been doing a lot of community things of this nature. It's really near and dear to my heart and a passion, and I'm going to continue to try to make as much of a difference in this country as I can, Your Excellency.
Well, what I think we should look at is and I say next year, and the reason why I say it in next year, between now and next year at least, put a program to some degree in place for next year. Possibly we can look at Cynthia and also and some of the others, and see if we can have a conference there and bring in some of the grandmasters to kind of, have a conference, open dialogue, because I can appreciate your passion. I'm very strategic. The class of Steele Youth is because we think that those in Africa and the surrounding regions around the world, they need to be brought up to the level of understanding how to operate within a globalized context. Exactly. And that's why we do the class of Steele, for the youth especially. But the other reason is we want individuals to catch wind of what goes on the other side and try to balance, because at the end of the day, you're not going to walk into a country and just be a one-man show and stop what is acceptable norm. It isn't exactly going to happen like that. However, what you will do is you will raise awareness, and you will also set the tone for the next generation. I tend to tell individuals what's going on right now might be very difficult to change. However, what you do right now can influence the next generation of leaders. Yes, and that's what I think equally the UN and other international bodies should be doing. Dubai and the Emirates, they're focusing on their youth. Their youth have strong programs because they know that if you get it into the youth, you might not get it out of the elders, but if you get it into the youth, when the youth get into power and into their office, the youth are able to bring new legislation and new policies that are going to change tomorrow. Our desperation sometimes for the harsh realities and wanting immediate results sometimes cause us to create more chaos than order. And what I will say to you, you know that you're one of the directors for Hope Transplant International, and so I know that Hope Transplant has its footprint in Botswana for sure. What I will say is you need to start planning conferences and awareness events, not just fixing the problem as in addressing each conflict. That's okay, but you need to start having major conferences and bringing in international stakeholders so that they can come in and sit down and show that they're sharing the same rhetoric, showing that they feel the same way about gender-based violence, because all around the world, gender-based violence is frowned upon. As a matter of fact, you would equally see that in the UAE, women are given license now. They're acknowledging the changes in the times that we're in. So with what you're doing, I'm going to have some meetings with you in the coming months, and we're going to look at what can we put in place other than just teaching the women to fight. Because sometimes, with all due respect, if you teach them to fight and they're not proficient, you create an environment where somebody will kill them quicker because they retaliate. If you teach them to communicate in the midst of conflict, if you teach them how to avoid getting into those positions, as a matter of fact, that is equally helpful. So with all that being said, what you're doing in Botswana is very, very needed, very needed. It is very noteworthy. And I also will call on our international communities that are monitoring and watching what we do in the class of Steele to send your support and your aid to any of those organizations that are dealing with gender-based violence, because it is critical and it is important. The women are the foundation and the bedrock of our nations. And if they're continued to be disrespected and dishonored at the extreme levels to those who are just taking advantage of opportunities, I think our societies are going to go down, and the women and the youth of the next generation are going to be, they're going to be scarred. So with what you're doing, let's look and see how we can put some programs for some conferences in 2023 in place. And I'll get behind you with Homemakers Women's Development Initiative with the women in that organization and others in different regions, and we'll see how we can do something. But you need to do something that's going to have international stakeholders so that there's a commonality of what is the focus.
Yes, sir. Thank you, Your Excellency, for that information, and also for chiming in on that. In line with what you mentioned, I know this is a multifaceted issue. Gender-based violence, domestic violence, and rape. So Grandmaster is not here just doing it on his own. I've actually allied myself with other community partners who, since it is a multi-layered, multifaceted issue, I've aligned myself with other community partners who deal with specific issues in that. For example, the counseling in the aftermath of those survivors. As I mentioned, a lot of the victims of rape and domestic violence, they have kids. So I work hand in hand with some of the local women's shelters, adult education, continuing education, counseling for young boys. One of the other groups that I work with here, Men and Boys for Gender Equality, deals specifically with tasking young men from young ages, 6, 7 years old, on the do's and the don'ts and the proper etiquette. One thing we concentrate on, of course, is conflict resolution and anger management from a young age, starting with those young men. So it's not about, my program is not all about punching and kicking and fighting, Your Excellency. It is, I have partnered with the necessary community partners, because that's what I do, but I'm not skilled in those other areas of counseling and outreach. One of the main focuses too of my program is to be a clearinghouse. So when we get calls or emails or what's up from people, and again, it's very private, it's very safe. We just plug them into the right resource and the right NGO or the right community partner, so they can get that. To get the help that they need. So anything that you can do, yeah. The next step, of course, was, as you mentioned, globalizing it and make it, because sometime when certain things happen on a national scale, everything is kind of downsized and you feel like it's only happening there. But no country on the face of this earth wants all of the earth's and world's attention on them and spotlighting on them for a negative reason. So anything that we can do to bring attention to this very serious issue here, and actually in the Southern African region, because for a while, South Africa had that number one spot. Number two, it was India, South Africa, and Botswana. Now we seem to passed both India and South Africa in that. Now, granted, Botswana has a smaller population. So when you actually do the numbers and everything, it's per capita and per the population. There's just a little over 2.1 million people here in the whole of the country. So it's not a large population, but still, when you look at the statistics, it's still enough to make a difference and blow it up. So yes, anything that you can do, we'll talk. I don't mean to monopolize the group's time, but we'll talk about that and plan the way forward with some of our international partners that you and I both know to bring attention to this issue. Thank
Okay,
you, sir.
so for what I will also say is in your approach, your approach must be at a corporate and global level.
Exactly.
And I think the approach would be through the United Nations initiatives that are gentle, because again, you also have to exercise diplomacy, because there are those that are in power that are perpetrators of the very acts. And you don't want to create an environment where those that are perpetrators of the act, you're flying into their faces to be doing something about it, because that's not going to happen. You just have to create a sensitized way of dealing with it, a diplomatic way, and don't make an open show or exposure of it, but do it in a more conducive manner of teaching and creating an environment for the next generation. Yes, I say to a lot of the leaders that I mentor globally, a lot of times they want to raise fists and take out guns, but that's not the solution. A lot of times the solution is recognizing, first thing, you can't break a cycle that exists for generations just like that. It's going to take generations to break it. So how do you go about doing that? You go about doing it by looking at the youth, looking at those that are now coming up and giving them opportunities to do better. You talk, as you're saying, you teach the young men how to treat women. You give them insight, take them places and let them see how other countries treat women, and let the young women see how to behave appropriately, because things that become acceptable norms in countries are as a result of, if you do, I'll do. And that if you do, I'll do has perpetrated to a place where it has not just become a mindset, but it has become a nature. And what you're up against is the nature of those in that region. And to break a nature is going to take a new mindset, a paradigm shift, a new way of looking at things. But again, you can't see a new way of looking at things in the same country amongst the same people. You can't, because it really doesn't exist. A person can't give what they don't have. And that's why international relations are so important to developing countries, because those international relations bring ideologies, ideas, methodologies, thinkings that add value and change the narratives that are already existent. So again, anything that you do, I hope that as we build together, it is going to be with the mindset of, this is a long-term work in progress, and it is something that is going to go on after I am gone. But at least I'm going to set the foundation. If you set up a school of etiquette or a school of protocol and behavior and incorporate the youth into it, whatever you do, but it must be in an environment, as I say, for the long term. And the government has a lot of initiatives for the youth. Secretly, you don't even need to attack it from a gender-based perspective per se. You can address it from setting the foundation, getting involved in their youth programs, and when you're mentoring the youth, you bring it out. You don't go and mentor the youth on gender-based violence. You go and you mentor the youth, period, and gender-based violence and how they treat and respect others. When it comes out, then it is addressed at that level. So think about your strategy, think about how you approach it. And in as much as the United Nations and other organizations are very inclined to deal with specific initiatives like gender-based violence, for kind of, they spot the light on it. I'm okay with that. However, if you're going to deal with it, you're going to need to deal with it from a perspective that you don't offend those that are walking in to your room. You want them to walk into the room as potential gender-based offenders. They walk into your room because they know they're coming into a room. But then you're able to address them in a manner that they feel remorse. Rather than telling somebody, you're a gender-based offender, we need to see you, you should come in here because you're horrible. You know, you don't want that. You want to change it. You don't want to just catch criminals. You want to stop criminals from criminal activity. And that's one of the things, you know, you and I are security individuals, and you know that there's high visibility. And the reason for high visibility is not to catch criminals. High visibility is to deter criminals. So what you do is, in the same strategy, you've got the mindset. It's the same thing. You create an environment of high visibility because you have people who are watching over. And if you do this, this is what's going to happen to you. One, so you have a task force in place. But then two, you also have a softer approach. Hey man, come here, man. And you hug them. You know you don't want to do that, man. That's not gonna be good. Because if you do that, you see that guy over there? Look at him. You see that guy there? He's seeing you. You know, when you go in the store, come on, man. You don't want to rob the store. You don't want to steal. See that camera? Man, that camera's watching you, man. Come on. And it's a tactic that works. It works for everything. All right. So I think I wanted to address that as well, because I have a in my heart, I don't like that is happening. And I think that as stakeholders, all of us should play our part in eradicating this gender-based violence and put a strong stance against it. As far as I'm concerned, in the class of Steele, we have a very strong stand against such behaviors, and we will not tolerate it. And you already know that on our platforms. So thank you so very much for that update on Botswana. Thank you so much. Jail, South Africa. Talk to us about South Africa, Jail. Your turn. Tag, by the way, before we go any further, have you guys noticed that Pretty and this young lady, they're sitting down together like best friends? These two ladies. Jail, just give us a minute, Jail. Just give us a minute. Go on, Nigeria. Talk to us. You two smiling like this. Go on. We can see you.
Hello, good evening, Dr. Steele.
Good evening.
Good evening, Grandmaster. Good evening, all the excellencies. Yeah, I'm with Oloma Kanebi, my sister from Asaba, Nigeria. Yeah, I came into town yesterday for a wedding, actually. So we decided to have the class together. And it's been fun. She's taking good care of me.
I see you look like you're having a good time. Have you noticed Elizabeth and Ruth? Elizabeth and Ruth, they're together for class. Now we have Pretty, and don't worry about it. The class of Steele is bringing you guys closer. Kanibi. The class of Steele is bringing you guys closer. So for now, me and Grandmaster are going to be sat next to each other in Botswana and have one camera here. So don't worry about it. Jail and Ashley. Jail and Ashley are going to be in one camera and right there. Don't worry about it. We're getting closer. I hope, Grandmaster, I hope you're also going to be with us in Barbados in October. I hope you have. When does Ashley have a question like that? Ashley, behave yourself, Ashley.
in Barbados coming up October?
Barbados is in October, and everybody's going to be in Barbados in October. We're hoping to be Barbados in October.
I was just talking to my sister back in the Caribbean just the other day. You know, in St. Thomas, it's carnival time there. So she's sending pictures of all the happenings and what have and just making me really sick right now because I'm not there eating good Caribbean food and listening to some nice calypso. But yeah, that would be an opportunity. I'll have to check my schedule. I know Ethel notified me about that as well too. In that we do have another African continent championship coming up in November, and I'm part of the United World Martial Arts Federation World Technical Committee. I handle just the wushu portion of it, so I might be called upon to do that. But we'll see. Since it's in October, the tournament is not until November 10th through the 13th, so I may be able to do double duty on that.
All right, so that'll be good. Pretty, tell us what's the climate of things there in Nigeria. How are you guys doing? And pertaining to what's going on, how are you guys holding up?
Yeah. Hello.
Pretty, can you unplug that thing? You can unplug that thing and use the microphone. Are you in a public place?
Can you hear me now?
Of course, we can hear you perfectly. Yes.
Hello?
You can hold it with your, go on. Okay, go ahead. She's out there. All right, go ahead. All right, bye-bye. How you can log on, you know?
Yeah, can you hear me too?
Yes,
Yeah,
I can hear you.
Okay. Yeah. For the time being, Nigeria is very good where it was chilling out things. The primaries are ongoing.
I can see two phones that are on. Okay, go ahead.
Yeah, can you hear me?
I can hear you.
Yeah. Nigeria is at the verge of choosing their presidential candidates. They are doing the primaries right now. Things are not very, very well because of the high cost of living. The economy of the country is quite is appealing. People are suffering. So it's not easy in Nigeria. So we are also hoping for your prayers so we can be able to choose the right person.
Okay. And are you guys getting news about what's going on in Russia and Ukraine and around the world? Are you guys getting news of what's happening? Is it reaching you guys?
Yes, we get the information, we get the news, but I think our situation is worse than what is happening in Russia and Ukraine in the real sense, because as it is now, insecurity is at its peak, and the people in power, they don't give a hoot. There's been a case of kidnap. There's been a case of kidnap along the Abuja Kaduna Express. People traveling by train.
Yeah.
So individuals were abducted by bandits, and till date, nothing has been done about that. Instead, the people who are supposed to look out for these persons are busy planning for the next election, 2023 election. Now, the same people you are hoping to elect you are endangered. You have not done anything about it. Yesterday, we had a woman gave birth in the kidnap, whatever, in the camp. Yes, she put to bed. So many people, so many families. I have a friend, a team member, she and her entire family, they have been there. It's getting to 1 month now. Nothing has been done. And these guys are asking for ransom. The kind of money they are calling is not what an ordinary person can provide.
Yeah.
Sometimes, even when you go as ahead to provide this cash, they still go on to kill the person. So you can't, nowhere is safe. You can't travel by air and say you are safe. You can't go by land and say you are safe. You can't go by sea and say you're safe. We are just living on God's grace. We're just living. And besides that, it's as if every day one story in Nigeria. If it is not domestic violence, it is, in fact.
And then these people are spending huge sum of money to buy the tickets.
To buy ticket,
100 million for
100 million for a
ticket.
presidential ticket in a particular there is a political party that their form is 100 million naira. Now you are purchasing a form for that amount. Meanwhile, the salary, the annual salary of that person in that position annually is not even up to 100 million. So I think in other way around, looking at it, this ruling party is projecting corruption because this person spending this money, getting into power, will want to get his money back, if not with interest. If a position you are vying for is what, let's say, 56 million annually, and you are spending 100 million to purchase the form, and purchasing this form is not a guarantee that you will win the position or you will get elected. Now, purchasing the form is one step. Now you have to do your campaign and spend more money. So what else will this person do when he or she gets into power other than to siphon money? It will be on top of his or her list. So it's so bad here.
Okay, I heard something very interesting that you said, which is individuals are in a position where they're lobbying for office, and the amount of money that they're putting out to get votes or to get persons' approval, when they get into office, their salaries are not even commensurate to what they're doing. So basically, you've given me and the international community enough food for thought. And what I will say to you is I'm not going to I'm not going to touch that right now. And the reason why I'm not going to touch it to some degree is because those that are in power exactly know what they are doing. And they know why they are paying those menial salaries to individuals to do such great work, because they know individuals will have no choice but to create an environment to get more monies out of the opportunities that are there. Now, notwithstanding, I believe that when this year ends in the class of Steele, we're going to be going into looking at mentoring world leaders at a different level, and mentoring leaders at a different level. And I'm going to be taking some of you guys, all things being equal, we'll be taking some of you guys to the UN and different places and having different meetings so that we can have some more closed door meetings. These meetings are public and everybody can see, but there's some things and tools that that I would like to give to you, or we would like to give to the people of Africa, pertaining to good governance and management, etc. And I think that I would do those in more private classes. But according to what you're sharing, as a matter of fact, the president of the United States is not a high-paid job. I guess most of you already know that. And political offices are not high-paid. And the reason in some dynamic is because they close deals. They do deals and they close international deals that secure them financially. And those deals are designed to do that. What they do is they would give deals to key persons in their family or in their environment. They would, and And that's something that happens globally. Those deals get passed into different hands. They come through and they have a commission structure that is in place. It's legal. But a lot of individuals are not aware of how that works. And when they get into government or into office, they don't realize that their role is to add value to the economy and to the country. They don't understand that. A lot of political leaders are just desperate to get a fat salary at the ending of their tenure when they get into office, but they don't really understand the dynamics of being in office. So those are some things that we will share and teach others so that they are made aware and can make some wise decisions. And we will also show you models of how it works in the international community, because being in office can serve you well if you serve your people well. You don't have to do unethical, dishonest things. As a matter of fact, with that being said, Your Excellency Bishop Dr. Comfort, Jael, don't go away, I still see you there. Your Excellency Dr. Comfort is one of the persons who could shine a little bit of light, Your Excellency Dr. Comfort, on understanding that when you're in office, you can work ethically, and there can be deals where you can, add value to yourself and your community and your people ethically and without violence. Dr. Comfort is in Ghana, and she's head of the Monarchs of Africa and also for the West African region. Your Excellency, Dr. Comfort, go ahead, please.
Thank you, Your Excellency, Bishop Dr. Mikey Steele. I greet you from Ghana with my best wishes. And Her Excellency, the First Lady, Jeannie Steele. And then I noticed that now Grandmaster has have some time to come on the platform. My greetings to you, especially for missing you for such a long time. And I heard all that you said about the program that you were in, and all the upcoming ambassadors that we are mentoring. It's a pleasure to always be on the platform on Saturdays. Even when I'm so heavily booked, I try to snatch away from some of the events so that I'll be able to have a show on the platform. Yes, at this time of the year, I think you look at all the countries around, there's only one or two issues that is pertaining in the global matter. It's about the trend of financial upgoings. What I want to say is that because of the Ukraine war and then the recent pandemic, it seems that everything is going way high. But one thing I know is that if we are able to tune the future generations to know that we have to take care of our generation, we have to do our best in our generation in terms of our communities. What we are lacking, we have to try and find ways and means to put them in place. And most importantly, when we put them in place, that is why the class of youth is doing well on integrity and other topics, so that we'll be able to manage it well. Somewhere in the morning, we were attending an event, and somebody brought up an issue about how corruption, people are looking at just the leaders. And I was saying that when we want to treat some other new subjects in school curriculum, we have to incorporate integrity, because integrity starts from the day one. Even as a mother, the woman will tell that you can try and train the child from the womb, because whatever you do, it casts some sort of snare on the child inside you. So you train the child inside you, and when the child comes out, that's why we say charity begins at home. We have to train the child, and then when the child goes to school, the teacher has to also train the child. But look at this scenario. During our time, our youth and when we're going to school, the respect for the hierarchy are the pastors, I mean the imams, the teacher, and then the kings or the head of states or the head of institutions. But now it has been like there's a number that everybody can say anything to an elderly person. So that thing is erased. And the teacher who is supposed to train the children are also not having any good habits, anything good to write home about. The teacher will smoke, the teacher will do anything that is not on the norm. So how are we going to train these children when even if you do your part in the home, when the children goes to school, you cannot count that the person can learn adequately apart from the lessons in class, the character that the person has to also to be groomed for. So I think this is what the class of Steele is for. And in our community with my people, what we are thinking is that the little that we can lay hand on, we'll have to try and then incorporate into them some character traits like integrity, how to handle issues, how to be a person who is being committed, and a person who you can trust, a person who you can see that when you give something to the person does it to the latter. And I think within the next few years, we'll be able to hold this in high esteem so that we can make sure that whatever is brought to our country, we can manage it well to our satisfaction. And I think that is what currently we are thinking of over here. The sustenance of a project is very, very important. It's very, very paramount. If you don't get people whom you can trust, people who have some a determination character, who you can commit any project into their hands, and then they're able to see to the success of the matter. That is where we find ourselves lacking, and we are strengthening that end so that we'll be able to handle any issue that comes from our end. Thank you so much, Your Excellency.
Thank you so very much for that response and that insight as we continue to build. I want to thank Pretty and Uloma for being with us this evening, and I know that you guys are at a at an event. Let's just say that. And I wish you guys a wonderful time. It's lovely seeing. Where is she? Where's she gone? Where's Uloma?
She went in to dress up.
Okay, so you guys have a fantastic evening, and please remain safe. And just give me the heads up, give me and First Lady the heads up when you have returned back to Port Harcourt safely. Just give us the heads up. And if you need to holler at us while you're on the trip, please do, okay?
Sure. Thank you,
All right.
Your Excellency.
All right, bye-bye. See you. Okay, Jail, South Africa. We've been missing South Africa. South Africa is the center of so many things. I've been observing the shift in the dynamics in South Africa, and it is quite interesting. Jail, what is the current climate of things in South Africa? The war that is going on. Are you aware of the war? Are you getting updates? Do you know what's happening? Are you hearing about it? And then equally the COVID current status. What is it like COVID wise? What's happening in South Africa, Jai? Please share with us. And I just want to say hi to our Grandmaster. Do you know who is in class? There's a little young lady that is in class. She's not showing her camera this evening. Can you guess who that little young lady could possibly be?
I have no idea at all, sir, but surprised.
Ashley, our Ashley is here. Ashley is in class.
Ashley.
Ashley, yes, the little 16-year-old lady, the young lady that is in. You forget Ashley? Do you know?
No, it's just she was missing for a bit. Yeah, that Ashley from SA, correct?
Yes.
Praise the Lord. Hi, neighbors. I can look down because we're north of South Africa. Hi, South Africa. Hi, neighbors.
You know what? Let me just let Jair finish. Just behave yourself. Go ahead, Jair.
Good evening, everybody. Your Excellency, thank you for the opportunity. Currently, with the COVID, we are more at ease. It's not as tight as it used to be, and we're picking up in terms of gatherings. We could half the capacity of a hall could be half that can attend. And we are still restricted to mask and the normal protocol of sanitizing. And other than that, businesses is starting to pick up. But recently, it was sometime last week where I've discovered on the news, sorry, I heard on the news that they say the COVID cases are picking up. But we haven't, or I haven't, according to my knowledge, where it was like before, where you every day heard so many people passed on within thousands. It's not as bad as it was. And I think also because of a lot of people, they were very quiet and adhered to the vaccination programs as well. And they even, with a booster, they went for that. So a lot of people are really following up and following the protocol. So it's not like in the past, it's better. And things are better for me, according to my knowledge, it's going better. And in terms of the Ukraine, we do get the news, but our news runs half an hour or an hour. But then if we want to catch up, then we go to the 24-hour news channel, which is also in French, but then you get the subtitles. So you actually have to read fast. And that also have an influence on the prices, like the gas and the oil, it's increased very much. And the men on the floor, the guy that can't afford that, they are getting hurt the most. And it's also like the bishop said, that also boils down to the youth. I am working closely with the youth now, and it does take a toll on them because they are so withdrawn and they're not free because I don't have what the next person or what I'm supposed to have. Because of the fuel prices and everything that's so sky high, they kind of have to get deprived from the privileges of being just youth. They also have to go through that with the parents, and it's emotionally, you can see it's taking a toll over them. And a lot of my teachings that I've learned from you, I'm trying and I'm implementing it to them. And I must say, it's like you say, just a gentle word and makes that person feel special, does help. And we started out with 14 children. We're now 18. And this afternoon we had an event. And the children, it was for them, it was awesome because they got noticed on a platform that was never available for them. It was always the ones who have money, and the ones that can't afford it was always pushed back. But I'm happy to say the class of Steele, the teachings that I'm taking from Dr. Steele, I'm implementing it into the youth, and I'm also looking forward to the better leaders that's going to become from them. And I know I might not be there to see it, but I know as I can see the children, the progress in them in this month's period, it's already more responsible, irrespective who I am, where I'm coming from, but I can. I'm worthy of I can. And they also now have the thing where I'm the brand, I'm the label, I need to, and I can. For me, it's actually an emotional thing to say, but this afternoon, I felt very good seeing them glowing like that. where there was a month ago, it was horrific. They wouldn't even want to open their mouth. This afternoon, they could even say on the stage their name boldly and stood boldly in front of people. So amongst all what's happening, there is some progress under the youth, and with good guidance, they can and they will be better leaders for us. Thank you, Excellency.
Good. That's a that makes my heart feel good, because I know that when we take a trip to South Africa, I'll have Grandmaster with me for sure. And when we do that trip there, we will have a youth that are at least somewhat prepared. And that's why I want this year to be completed. And October in Barbados is going to finalize and solidify our friendships. There's a lot of stuff you guys are going to get aware of, those who make it to Barbados. There's a specific reason for the Barbados trip. It is more than just a trip. It is for those who make it, because if you want the generation to change and you want those young people to be impacted, you have to be somebody that's going to show you, look, I did this. And if I did this, you could do it. A lot of times, young people have leaders that are trying to give what they don't have. You can't give somebody what you don't have. Grandmaster is a trained grandmaster in martial arts, and he's given what he has. And the reason why he can bring home gold medals to Botswana through the training that he gives to those youngsters is because he's given what he has. And what he has is globally recognized, and it empowers them. And I want to see leaders that want to take up the youth and carry them. Don't go and look good. I want to see leaders that are going to say to the youth, I am not going this place and flashy and coming back to lord over you. I'm going this place and carrying you and showing you you can do this too. Too many leaders it really hurts me personally. I was not prone to it. I was raised up with mentors that sent me. I went to men's conferences and men's leadership meetings when I was a child, because all of my leaders and mentors, the Bishop Jerry Steele, as my father, he's still there. He made sure that I was sent to conferences. I was sent to training. I went places that leaders were at. And I was, if you would say, I was bigger than my boots, because I was given an opportunity to stand on the shoulders of giants. But we have giants that are standing on the shoulders of children. I'm telling you what I'm saying. We have giants that are standing on the shoulders of children to be bigger. That's the wrong model. We need giants that are going to look down at the children and says, come here, and throw them on our shoulders and say, look over there, so they can see further, so they can see the next generation, so they can see, oh my God, this is the journey that I have to go. So if I don't find leaders that are in a position where they're going to say the youth have to be better than me, if I don't find those leaders, I will never be appointing them for the class of Steele approval. You have to show me. The class of Steele is an organization, but it is my ethos. It is the way that I think. And if I don't find a leader that wants to put younger ones on his shoulders and walk with them and show them the way, then he's not a leader. There are a bunch of people that they stand on the shoulders and the heads of those that they're supposed to be putting on their shoulders, and they're killing them. And then when they die, guess what happens? Guess what happens? When they die, the youth are now looking up in the sky because they don't know what is available, because they were not prepared. But if they were on the shoulders of those leaders, they would be seeing what's coming and what's ahead. And some of them would be jumping up and saying, I know where we're going. I know what we're doing because Papa showed me, Uncle showed me, my mentor showed me. And they know what to do. And when everybody else is panicking and in chaos, they're the ones that are able to say, this is the way, come with me, because Papa showed me. I was on his shoulder and I was looking. I know that investor. I know that business partner. I know that government official. I know that government leader because Papa told me who he is. And Papa told me, if anything happened to me, I want you to make sure you maintain this relationship with Uncle. That's what we don't have. We have leaders going into secret meetings. No one sitting next to them. No young person seeing, because what they're doing is unethical. What they're doing is immoral and dodgy. So they can't have somebody sitting down next to them. Are you with me? Come on, class of Steele. Are you guys with me?
Yes.
If I'm walking and I'm going into a meeting, I want to have somebody next to me learning how you do it. How does it work? Because I'm teaching you and I want you to see. And those of you who passed through this year in the class will see, do you know what? I can't wait for this year to end. Can I tell you why? Because I want to take you guys to the next level. That's why I see Ruth is excited. Wait a minute, let me interrupt. Ashley, look at Ashley's peeping out. Hello, Ashley. Before I come to you, Ruth, don't go away. I have to come to you about something important. Ashley, good evening, Ashley.
Hi, Dr. Steele.
Everybody,
Hi.
welcome the baby in the class. Welcome up, baby Ashley. Oh, Ashley, bless you. How are you doing?
I'm doing okay, and you?
Ashley, are you standing on this shoulder or this shoulder? Tell me which shoulder you're standing on.
What do you mean? I don't know what that means.
Because you're standing on the shoulder of giants. You have Jael, you have Grandmaster, you have Bishop Comfort, you have Ruth, all of our shoulders that you can stand on.
Yes.
How are you doing, and how is the training for you? You're the youngest person, and how do you feel about what we're putting in place that is necessary for the youth? How do you feel about it, Ashley?
I think what you guys are doing is very important, like what you were saying right now, with the youth sitting in on like the meetings and stuff. And I think older people, I'm not saying you're old, but like older people obviously have a great responsibility.
Say that again. Say you're not saying I'm old again, just so that I confirm you said that.
Yes, you're not old. Yes, but I just think that the older people have a responsibility to teach the youth about how things work, especially in, I don't know, politicians and stuff. So that's just my opinion.
I think blessed be the day when we can see, I'll share something with you. When Josh was born, Josh must have been about 30 persons. My wife had a section, a planned scheduled section for Josh. And there were about 30 persons that were inside of the room. There was the doctor, the surgeons, the anesthesiologist, everything. It was amazing. But here's the most amazing part. The gynecologist had students that understudy him. Okay, so there were a few students that were there. We authorized a few students were there. The anesthesiologist, he's up there. He had a few students that were there as well. The top anesthesiologist, he was present, but because he's teaching, and I think that if our government leaders would create an environment where, from some alumni or some body, etc. The class of Steele, I'm going to do it with a lot of our students. I'm going to be sending you guys and giving opportunities for you guys to be in certain meetings to see how they work. You're just going to be sat there and taking notes, okay, to understand how business works and different things like that. But I think if our leaders would be in a position to do that, we would have a better generation that's coming up. Why? Because Like Ashley is going to talk about what happens in Barbados if she goes, or wherever in the world she goes, and whatever she sees. She's going to talk to it with her peers. And she's going to stimulate some of her peers to want to do that. Oh, that's nice. And when you do that together, it builds momentum for the next generation. So Ashley, again, we appreciate you in the class of Steele. We appreciate your parents for allowing you to be here. And I want to honor them as well. And I want to thank you for also being in a position where you can make a difference. And I hope, Ashley, that you follow through. Even if you should leave the class of Steele, continue being you, being inquisitive, continue asking questions, continue pursuing your highest ideal. And equally, one thing to focus on, Ashley, look for what does this world need that I can fix as a young person. Make sure you find that. By the way, Ashley, I gave you some homework. Do you remember the homework I gave you?
Yes, I do.
Have
Remember
you,
the homework.
Have you put anything, has the journey started?
Not really. I told my mom about it. And she
And
was also giving me ideas on, you know, what to say and what to write about and stuff. So
it's a work in progress. You have
yes.
you have 1 year from now. So that's all right. You have a long time. But
Yeah.
I just want you to focus on it and put it in place, okay?
Okay.
How do you feel about what's going on with the youth in South Africa right now, Ashley? How do you feel as a young person, and you look at leadership and you look at things that are happening with the youth and the frustrations? How do you feel about it as a young person?
Like, what do you mean in terms of what?
In terms of the difficulties of getting jobs, in terms of the difficulties of opportunities being available, how do you feel about that as you're looking at it through your young eyes?
I feel I'm kind of worried though, because the percentage of people out after like graduating from matric, there's a 75%, I just know those are the stats for people, those are, sorry, how do I, oh my goodness, 75% of the youth in South Africa can't get jobs. And obviously that's because of the unemployment rate. And I'm obviously scared for my future because I don't want to be unemployed. And I think a lot of the youth as well feel the same way as I do. And I think that's also why a lot of people don't want to, I don't know, live in South Africa anymore. Because I know I don't want to live in South Africa anymore. And my mom also says that, I don't know, there's not many opportunities being a South African because of the unemployment rates. And yeah.
I'm going to give you a few secrets, Ashley. I see you, Grandmaster. Just 1 second, I'll come to you. I'll give you a secret, Ashley. Can I tell you why there's a high unemployment rate? I'll tell you why. Because the leaders are not focused on entrepreneurship. For example, if I got a university and I'm training individuals, I want to train at least 20% or 30% of those individuals to be entrepreneurs. Obviously, you're going to need to have individuals who are going to fill the work need currently as employees. But you're also going to need entrepreneurs, persons who are going to start up businesses, for example, and they're going to need to employ staff and employ individuals. So if you are worried about your future, that's a good thing, because guess what, Ashley? If you're worried about being unemployed, then be an employee. There you go. So you start structuring your mind, what business am I going to open? What company am I going to set up when I come out of school, when I come out of university? I'm not coming out of university to go and work for somebody. That's the first thing. As a matter of fact, I don't mentor people that want to work for people. I mentor leaders. I mentor people that want to be entrepreneurs and they want to set up corporations and businesses and charities and foundations so that they can employ others. And actually, if you were in a platform like this, your mind should be looking at, hey, if I become a doctor, for example, I'm not just going to be a doctor. I'm going to open a doctor practice. So I'll be a doctor and I will have a doctor practice that I'm going to employ 5 or 6 doctors. And then I'm going to employ the staff that's going to clean the building. And then I'm going to employ the secretaries. And I'm going to, so basically, even though you are a profession as a doctor, which is quote unquote somebody that works in a hospital, that's not how you think. How you're thinking is, I'm a doctor, but I'm going to open a practice. And by the way, what I'm going to do in my practice is I'm going to have doctors that are older than me. They're seasoned doctors that work in my practice. If you go and study to be a lawyer, don't just be a lawyer. One of my sons is a lawyer, and he has a law firm. One of my sons that came up in my junior church, he has his own law firm. Why? Because you're thinking on a different level. So any occupation you do, if you go and you do trade as a carpenter, I was a carpenter, but when I came out from doing carpentry, I opened a construction firm, Rock and Steel Construction, because I look at creating value rather than being an employee. Now, I'm not saying that being an employee, an employer is easy. It's not easy. Being an entrepreneur is extremely difficult and challenging. However, it has the value that you look and you see your earning potential is 10 times greater. If you think being a doctor pays you a lot, try owning a doctor's practice. And whatever profession you have, look at getting a practice. If you're a carpenter, be the best carpenter, be the hardest working carpenter, open a construction firm. If you're a bus driver, be the best bus driver that you could be, open a firm and buy buses and have other people drive in for you. Do you get what I'm saying? So that's the model that you need to think about to stop you from even worrying about your future. Actually, your future is bright, by the way. Your future is bright because you are already forming international relations at your age. That's what makes the difference in the world. Forming international relations and building friends so that when you qualify and you have your qualifications in the next 20 years, you're going to have persons that you would have met in the class of Steele or wherever internationally that you could say to them, hey, I would like to start a practice. What do you think about it? And they will help you. But remember, think about being an employer and not just an employee. Put that in your head. The rate of employment is horrible. Well, that's fine. So what do you need to do to solve the problem? Be an employer. Has that added any value to you, Ashley?
Yes, it has. Thank you for saying that to me.
All right, there you go. Grandmaster wanted to say so. Go ahead, Grandmaster.
Yeah, as you pretty much summed it up. I remember when I was younger and scratching my head. You know, you spend all that time from what, reception to standard 2, standard 4, then it's form 4, form 5 in classes, and then you're happy about going to university. And wow, you spend all that. Sometimes you might take 5 years to get a 4-year degree, like I did, because I partied a year. and then you get it, and you're so happy to walk across that stage. And now you have a piece of paper in your hand that says you're qualified to go work for somebody else. And because of the disconnect with our people in particular, from colonialism until the modern world, we really weren't taught the entrepreneurial spirit, but more suppressed to become consumers instead of providers. You understand what I'm saying? So now we find ourselves like Ashley and like a lot of other youth throughout the continent here and worldwide, but specifically dealing with the continent here, having to create employment and create jobs for themselves. And the mindset of these young people, Your Excellency, is amazing and incredible, because I engage the minds of young people on a day-to-day basis, whether it's my students or just people out there in the community. And you listen and sit to some of these young people and you go like, wow, they just blow your mind and going like, wow, I think I'm gonna vote for you in the next election if it was possible. But you hit on something too earlier when you said that we as mentors and leaders, we have to pick these young people up and embrace them and put them on our shoulders and carry it so they can see the vision and see the other side and see what it's all about. And Ashley, that's one thing that you can do even now, is to think about ideas on how to create your own employment, creating your own environment. I remember my teacher, if I can share this anecdote right quick, Your Excellency, he said there's three worlds that we live in. First is the physical world that we see every day, the earth, the ground, the trees, the water, et cetera, et cetera. That's the one that we all share together. That second world is the world that everybody else wants you to live in, whether it's your mom, your dad, your spouse, your intended, or what. They want you to live a certain way, do a certain thing, be a certain profession. Even though it may not be your passion, we usually find ourselves being lost mostly in that second world, because we don't want to upset mom, we don't want to upset dad, or they might be the one paying the school fees at university. So we're going to go do something because they're the ones paying for it. And we find ourselves getting into professions that we don't necessarily like because somebody else chose it for us. But then my teacher said there's that third world. That third world, team, is the one that you create for yourself. In that world, there's no negativity. There's totally positive. There's only creation energy. There's only passion in that world. You create that world and you live in it, and only bring into that world the things that will nurture you, benefit you, nurture your soul, your spirit, and your mind. In that world is complete happiness. And very few of us in our lives find that world or even know how to create that space and create that atmosphere. That's why a program like the Class of Steele Youth is so important, because we begin to mentor these young people and show them how to create that third world, how to have that positivity in their lives in that third world. So Ashley, you just south of me, sweetheart. I'm up here in Botswana. So anything that you need on this side that Grandmaster can help with, feel free to just pick my brain on it, and I can help you there as well too. Because I believe in creating your own space and creating your own employment opportunity. You're not too young. You seem like a bright young lady, and I bet you got a whole bunch of stuff going on up there in your mind. And we can tag team and figure out how to make it work on your side, okay?
Thank you so very much, Grandmaster. As a matter of fact, as you say, she's not too young. I will tell you, when Joshua was 5 years old, he gave Jeannie a blueprint. He sat down and says, Daddy, he's saying to mom, he wants a store for kids that is all of the things that are small. And I was listening to him. He says he wants a mall with all the things are low down, where little kids can go into this mall and they can set up for everything. And the adults will be the ones that are out of place. And I said, wow, that sounds really nice. And I'm telling you the honest truth. I'll tell you the truth. And he went and he gave Jeannie a whole blueprint of what this place is going to look like, what's going to be in it, how it's going to be. And Jeannie took it serious, and we took notes and wrote it down. And for his 6th birthday, we registered his company. He has a registered company called Joshua's World, and it does exist. And he is the owner of Joshua's World. And why did we do that? Because if I should go before my, I get to see my grandchildren, I want to know that anything that we have goes into Joshua's World, and it makes Joshua's World what he wants it to be. And nobody can tell him, oh, you need to be 18 or 20, because from the time he was 6, he's on the books. He's the owner of the company. He has his own bank account. It's VAT registered, everything, and it belongs to him at 6 years old. So why did I say that, Ashley? Look at what you want to do and go for it. And your mom already supports you, and that's the best gift you have on the planet. that you have somebody that loves you and cares about you, that supports you. And I can assure you that as you grow and as you put your foot forward, you will have other individuals from the class. So Steele, you have Bishop Dr. Comfort, your mommy, you have a whole lot of people that are going to be here to say, okay, Ashley, I can connect you with this person or that person or whatever. And that's how life works. Remember that. Life works based on relationships. Form the right relationships and it can improve or enhance your progress. If you're a person that is prone to just hanging out with your peers that are down here, this is where you'll stay and you'll just come up at their pace. But if you're down here and you hang out with people up here, guess what's going to happen? They're going to be pulling you up. And that's just how it works. So blessings on you. The time is now, my goodness, the time is now 10 minutes after the hour of 7. I see John Paul. I'm just going to allow you to greet the class this evening. Just greet us. Ruth and Elizabeth, do you know any of the persons that are here?
Yes, please.
Yes,
They are
please.
with us here in China. We invited them over.
Okay.
They have been joining us a couple of times. Today they came, and then Kate Amenador, I believe she's also here.
Yes, Kate is here also.
Yes.
So
she's
I'll
here
let them
with us.
greet. I'll let them greet the class then.
Yes.
Okay, so Jean Paul first. John Paul, could you unmute yourself and just greet the class this evening? You're from China.
Okay. Good evening, everyone. We have John Paul from Uganda, currently in China. A student finishing an undergraduate course in software engineering. And I'm pleased to be here. I've attended a couple of meetings before, and I really like the initiative that's happening here. So yeah, thank you.
Jean Paul, what do you see yourself doing when you leave university in China? What are you taking home with you to Uganda?
It's a nice question. I don't see myself doing much in technology. I see myself doing much in social works and in leadership. I think that's where I'm gifted at. So over my time here in China, I've served as a student leader of my association, very instrumental during the COVID outbreak. I've also served as someone more like an attaché to the embassy and also in the students' union here in the university. So I think I'll bring back, if I'm to return back home, I'll bring back the lessons I've learned over my stint as a leader, the values I've learned of cooperation, teamwork, efficiency. Because I'm very passionate about uplifting the African community from where I come from. You know, interacting with various communities here in China, and then you remember where you come from, you see the differences. And as an African, this bothers me because I think we are supposed to reach there, and then you discover the loopholes. So one of the ways which I tried to, in my own way, try to address this inequality, the way I see it, was to write articles. I'm a writer, I'm a blogger, just to highlight what I see is my point of view, and surprisingly, people are accepting of that, and I'm seeing some slight positive change. Yeah, so if I'm to finish university, I think those are the qualities and the roles I'll take back home. Yeah.
Okay, Ruth, I want you to set up a meeting with me and Jean Paul at your convenience. I still have to come to you, Ruth, again, because I don't want to leave something very interesting out, but you and I will talk. Jean Paul, thank you so very much for being in the class of Steele, and I hope that you become a part of the family.
Okay, thank you so much.
You're welcome. Jean-Paul, how old are you?
24.
24. Good age, good age. I see Bishop Comfort is shaking her head. I'm smiling. You have a mother in Ghana that has just shook her head in approval and is smiling at her son.
Yeah.
Well done. Kate, Kate Blessing, could you unmute yourself, please, Kate? I just greet us in the class.
Hello, everyone.
Come closer to your microphone, Kate.
Can you hear me, please?
We can hear you very low.
Really? That's the highest volume of my phone. Sorry
Um,
about that. Is it okay?
Can you unplug the headphones? If you unplug the headphones and
No,
just
I'm
use
not
the
using. I'm
hello?
not using a headphone.
Okay, go on, try. We'll listen.
I'm sorry, the volume is low. I don't know what's happening. My name is Kate Benedicta Menado, also a Ghanaian and a student in China at the moment. Pursue my PhD in Chinese English linguistics, Chinese English translation, sorry. Yeah, I'm my third year. So basically that's about Kate. And I was invited by Ruth to join this class. This is my second time of joining. No, my third time of joining actually. Yeah.
How old are you, Kate?
I'm 35.
Ah, okay. So what is your what is the area that you see yourself going into?
I'm also more into education and entrepreneurship. Education, I love to see young girls develop. I seem to have passion for young girls, specifically developing the talent in young ladies. So I intend to take that up as a project. Um, on a foundation to train young ladies develop their potential and talent. People who have, Ghana, we have, especially the rural areas, we have places where young ladies have actually dropped out of school because of teenage pregnancy and so many other challenges. And because of that, they feel that once I've dropped out, that is it. That's the end of the road in terms of education. And so it's my intention to empower them that doesn't matter what happens or what they've been through, they can still pick up the pieces of their lives and make something out of them. So I intend to come up with a foundation in that regard to help young ladies. So basically, human empowerment. That's my dream and my goal eventually when I go back.
Which country are you from?
I'm a Ghanaian.
You're from Ghana.
Yes, please.
Bishop Comfort, awesome. So I want to give you a challenge that is very interesting, and I'll tell you why it is interesting. Now, you, based on the studies that you're doing, you have quite a few other persons who are also doing linguistics. Is that correct?
Yeah.
That's correct?
In my school, you mean?
In your class, in the same class as yourself?
I'm alone at the moment as a PhD student.
No, I mean, in the university, there are more persons who are doing the same studies, correct?
Yeah, but they are Chinese actually.
But they're Chinese doing English, right?
Yes.
Okay. I want you to find at least 5 friends that you get to know very well, that you become good friends with, that you will say you will keep these as your friends for life. Yes? And
Okay.
Here's the reason why I'm telling you this, okay? The Chinese industry globally is suffering because of lack of proper translations for the language. And you could find great opportunities in contractual negotiation or translation in that position in some very key areas that I can actually point you to. I'm not going to go into those areas right now, but there are key areas that you can go into from anywhere in the world. You'll just get the documents and you will be proficient in putting those documents into English or into from Chinese to English, vice versa. But also, there are those that are in China that they don't have English translators as well, that are in high level business also. So those are areas in the class of Steele, I can assure you, that can add value to you in the coming years. So I would suggest that you have at least 5 good friends who you could, you know, form a good relationship with, that are proficient in both English and Chinese, and are interested in bettering themselves.
Yeah, okay, thank you.
You're with me?
Yes, please. I actually do have some partners, business partners from here
Say
already.
that again, please.
I actually do have some business partners here already who wants to go and establish businesses in Ghana actually. So that's why I talked about the entrepreneurial aspect of what I want to do. But your advice is well taken. I'll hope to expand my network of friends.
All right, awesome. Thank you so very much for being in the class, Kit. I appreciate you, and I look forward to being able to hear you better and clearer, but also seeing how we can equally add value to you and what you're doing on your journey. I saw Grandmaster had his hands up. The time is 19:21. We're going a bit late this evening, but the discussion is okay. Grandmaster, go ahead, please.
Yes, sir. With your permission and with that young lady's permission, was it Kate? I have a good friend of mine from Botswana. She actually now lives in the UK. She did her Chinese studies in China as well and graduated and came back here to Botswana and worked for a good while as an interpreter between China and the Botswana government in terms of law, industry, trade, that type of thing, and did quite well with it. And since that is in her line of work, with your permission, Your Excellency, and with hers, if I can find some way to share her number, she'll be more than glad to kind of help out in any way, shape, form, or fashion. Because again, she's into mentorship and to helping young ladies find their way in that particular field and industry, because she's already done it before.
Interesting.
That is for Kate to answer.
Yes.
Do you mind if I share with you her information? I'll share that with Dr. Steele, or however, I don't know how we can get that information to her.
Those based on Kate, Kate, if you would, Ruth and Kate and the first lady, because I think it's ladies, I don't want to send across the wrong message. So Ruth and Kate, you guys can do that. And Grandmaster, you could communicate that with Bishop Comfort, because you guys are in the same region, because I still want to keep things appropriate. So you can communicate with myself as well, and Ruth, you would communicate with Kate pertaining to that. But Your Excellency, you make the connection, and you and I will have a meeting and with Ruth as necessary, and then Kate, so that we can put it in place the correct way. All right. But the most important thing is just make sure that that's what Kate is looking for, and we do it the right way.
Understood, sir. So I just put it out there. The resource is there. If you need it and want to use it, I'll make it available to you.
Definitely, you can speak to Ruth about it and put it in place, because at the end of the day, it's all about networking and adding value. And once Ruth and her discuss and know what she's looking for, and that's something that is acceptable, yeah, of course, that's why we're here.
Yes, sir.
All right. Okay, I see Samuel. I'm seeing Samuel there. Samuel, good evening. I think Samuel is in Samuel is in Dubai. Samuel, good evening to you. Samuel, could you unmute yourself? All right, no unmutation from Samuel this evening. All right. Well, I think we've kind of covered everybody. I want to thank all of you for such a lively discussion. I've been reading the chat with Ashley and Jael here, and we've been seeing what you guys have been sharing about those that are in the townships in South Africa, etc. And here's the thing, Ashley. Ashley, I want you to know something. All of you in the class of Steele, I want you to know something. Please know this. Please know that there are people that genuinely care. There are. Genuinely caring does not mean you have the ability to help. I'm going to start there. There are people that genuinely care, but most people that genuinely care might not have the ability to help. For example, I genuinely care. And the class of Steele youth that we're doing, this costs us to do it. It costs us time, it costs us planning, costs us resources. But because we care, we're doing it. And I will not stop doing it. His Excellency, Her Excellency Bishop Dr. Comfort Adu, Grand Master, we're here because we care. In life, you find sometimes care and ability don't really be together. It's kind of like entrepreneur and money. You have an entrepreneur with great ideas, but no money. And then you ask yourself the question, but then there's somebody with a lot of money and no ideas. Life is like that. But what do? We look at opportunities where we could bring caring and resources together. And when we bring caring and resources together, things happen. Keep doing what you're doing, Ashley. Keep doing what you're doing, Jail. Don't be worried about it is not happening immediately. Don't be panicking with the news and think you got to get up and no. Keep doing what you're doing. Keep faithful to yourself. Keep true to you, one step at a time. We can't save everybody. I would like to get all of my friends and partners and associates and put them on a plane and says, let's go to South Africa to the township and let's do what? When we get there. What are we going to do when we get there? What do you want to do? I want to go there and help those people. But okay, what are you gonna do when you get there? We're gonna talk to the government. Okay, what are you gonna say to the government? What are you gonna say to the government? We're gonna say they need to get more employment. The employment rate needs to change. We're gonna say they need to get more. Okay, where the job's gonna come from? I don't know. Why are you asking me all these questions? I just want to help. Okay, Michael, calm down. If you want to help, tell me what project you want to do. Tell me what you want to do, and let's look at how can we do it together. You see, a lot of times we see the problems and we think that jumping on the streets and waving batons and cracking a few heads and smashing a few cars is going to help. No, it's not really going to help. It's going to make the situation worse. It's a process. And it's a long, hard Horrible process. But at the end of the day, if you stick to it, don't start and stop. Stick to it. Somebody will hear you crying. Help! And somebody will hear you, and somebody will come and help. But stick to it. Do what you can do, and do it diligently, committedly, and don't give up. And don't try to do more than you can, because then in trying to help others, you might destroy yourself. Remember, you can only do so much as an individual. Actually, I want to ask you a question as a young person. How would you eat an elephant, Ashley? Unmute yourself. How would you eat an elephant?
I don't know, piece by piece, I guess.
You eat an elephant the same way you eat a chicken. There's no different. You chew as much as you could hold in your mouth, and then you swallow. And if you can't eat anymore, you put it down for later. It's the same thing with life, Ashley. Have a laugh at thinking, how do you eat an elephant? And think, you want to save the townships. That's a huge amount of elephants. How do you do it? One bite at a time. How do you cook an elephant? You decide either you're going to create a huge fire and have a whole lot of mouths to feed, or you're just going to take off a little piece of it and put it on a rotisserie and then eat a little piece at a time. Unfortunately, the elephant is huge. Unfortunately, your mouth is so small. You can't eat the whole thing one time. It's the same thing with the problems on the earth. It's the same thing with the problems in your region. They're huge. You're one single person. You need to raise awareness. You need to get support. You need to have a plan and a vision, how you're going to do it. All of you. And you do it one day at a time. I'm going to close with this because we've gone on really long this evening, but I think it was a good discussion. I'm going to close with this. I follow a young man. He's one of the wealthiest men on the planet Earth. One of the wealthiest men. Who is the wealthiest man on the earth right now? Ashley.
Is it Elon Musk?
Elon Musk. I follow Elon Musk, Ashley. And I listened to him talking about his journey, about his life, about his youth. And I listened to him talking about the people that inspired him to go into space technology. And when he started his journey, those persons that he thought were going to be supporting him and encouraging him and being his high towers, those were the very persons that made it hard for him. Look down, you're crazy, you're mad. Could you imagine the first rocket crashing? The billions that you've wasted? Then the second rocket crashing, the more billions? But my goodness, then the third? But then he got it, finally. Why did I share that with you, Ashley? You're gonna have a vision to help people, and if it is based on the people that are going to want to catch your vision, some people are not going to catch your vision. Some people are not going to support you. Some people are not going to help you. And what are you going to do? Say that it's no longer worth doing because nobody helped? No. If it was worth doing from the time you started, stick to it. No matter who's with you or who's not with you, stick to it. Keep doing it. Even if the only person that shows up for the class of Steele Youth is me and Ruth and Grandmaster or me and Bishop Comfort, I'm going to do it because these videos are live. I'm going to do it. Why? Because it needs to happen and nobody else is doing it at this cost. So I will do it because I know that at the end of the day, it is going to yield good results for the generations to come. Next Saturday is our final Saturday. I'm going to close the class of Steele and the class of Steele Youth for a while because we have a lot that's going on. So next Saturday, all of you are invited. That's the anniversary for the class of Steele. As I mentioned to you, the 7th, and I'm going to send you guys informations and a link to register for next Saturday separate. And I want you guys to do me a favor. I want you guys to send it out far and wide. Ruth, I'm depending on you to help us send out far and wide the advertisement for our anniversary event, which is Saturday, the 7th of May. And then after that, we're going to have 3 weeks of vacations from then. So you guys are on vacation. But Saturday is going to be amazing. First Lady is going to send out information to all of you. She's going to send out information to you, and you guys will have access to that. And you guys, I'm going to be featuring those of you who were in the youth program. You guys are going to be a part of that as well. We're going to be doing something for you guys. So with that being said, thank you so very much for being in the class of Steele this evening. The final word, Your Excellency, Bishop Dr. Comfort Adu, final word from you, ma'am.
Thank you, Your Excellency, once again. I always continue to say, keep on doing what you have started and you surely make it. We must also find time when we are on holidays to talk to other youth members, our friends, and tell them what the class of Steele Youth has done for us, so that in our next class, when the class reopen, we can have a whole lot of people coming to embrace it. Thank you so much. Thank you.
Grandmaster, final word from you, Grandmaster.
Yes, sir. Again, I just want to apologize for my long absence. Bishop, we've talked to you, you know what I've been up to, but still keeping on with this amazing class of Steele. The mentorship here is invaluable. I mean, every time I tune in, regardless if it's long or short, I'll learn something, definitely learn something. I'm glad to be part of this amazing group of young people, regardless of where you're at. And for all our mentors and excellencies, man, thank you so much for doing what you're doing and helping us to make a difference here on the continent. That's a really big thing. Setting forth the leaders of tomorrow.
Thank you so very much. I've just posted a link and I need a brief favor from you. The first thing, I don't want to use the word desperately, but desperately might be a good way to say it because I'm actually getting desperate now. I'm trying to reach 100 people on our YouTube channel so that we are able to do some more things with our YouTube channel, but they don't allow you to do it unless you get 100 people. So I need some help. Help! Please go to our YouTube channel and like and subscribe to our YouTube channel, because it's going to give us the ability to do a little bit more that I want to do that I can't do unless I have a minimum of 100. How many of you are going to please help me? Help me, please, I'm begging. And by the way, you university students should say to persons, just go and like it. Just go and like it for me, please. I'm begging you at university, make it easy for us to get to 100. I wasn't begging before because I said I will do it patiently, but my patience is running out. So please help. And for and for those of you who have seen the class of Steele videos and different things like that, I want you to do me a favor. Please send a note and just give us a review, because reviews are what help us to make people know what we're doing is real and we have real human beings that we mentor. I'm not just pie in the sky. So again, I'm going to beg you, like some persons, every single class now, I'm going to start begging, please subscribe. I'm begging you, subscribe. Please, Ashley, I'm begging you. Ashley, you're in school right now. School children make these things so easy. They just tell all of their friends, go and subscribe, please subscribe. Somebody do it. Ashley, Give me an ad, please. Say, go and subscribe to the Class of Steel. Go on, Ashley, give us an ad. Say, go subscribe.
Go subscribe to the Class of Steel.
Thank you. Ruth, your turn. Come on, Ruth, your turn.
Subscribe to the Class of Steel.
Thank you. Jail, your turn.
I'm actually taking the pic to set it up and send it to the youth group as we're speaking.
So go subscribe. Tell them they're listening to you.
Oh, whoa. I'm doing it.
Grandmaster, your turn, Grandmaster, please, because I don't even think, Grandmaster, you're subscribed.
Oh, I did before, but I'll do it again.
Okay, so tell them, go
Whoever you
subscribe.
are
Go subscribe.
in the listening audience, if you're watching this video, please subscribe to the Class of Steel. On that link, I'm in security. I will find you.
Okay, let me see. Let me go to the channel. I think this is our YouTube. That's the YouTube channel. The Class of Steel YouTube channel is that link. I want us to do the review. Ladies and gentlemen, it's been wonderful this evening. I had a fantastic time with you guys. I love you guys dearly, and I look forward to seeing you guys on Saturday. Saturday is going to be phenomenal, and we're going to have a great time. And Saturday is also going to be streamed live on the YouTube channel. So those who are subscribed to the channel will get to see Saturday live. And Saturday's time is early, Ruth. It's in the afternoon time. So it's a lot earlier on Saturday for the full event that we're doing. So with that being said, I'm excited to go within the next 24 hours and see that we would have reached 100, and then I will be able to do what I want to do, which is to give us a Class of Steel name and not that YouTube channel UCX, Samuel UBB, blah, 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 all of that. I'll be able to put the Class of Steel. Come on, somebody, celebrate with us. Thank you. So go subscribe. Go subscribe. I'm watching you. Watching. Subscribe. Subscribe. Bye-bye, guys. Samuel, I see you there. Samuel, why haven't you spoken to us?
I joined late.
Oh, okay, Samuel. Thank you so very much for being with us
right.
this evening, Samuel.
Okay.
Go subscribe. Go subscribe. Go and subscribe.
All right. I'll go and subscribe.
And share it on WhatsApp so they will subscribe. Please, I beg. Oh.
Okay. Bye-bye.
All right, guys. I want to thank all of our friends in the Class of Steel, those who are on our YouTube channel, Facebook, LinkedIn, and all our social media platforms. Thank you so very much for following us on this exciting journey that's only getting better. I want to thank our friends in China. It's really important to acknowledge our Chinese friends and those who are in China as students. Thank those in Botswana, Ghana, South Africa, Nigeria, all of the other regions that are a part of the Class of Steel. Thank you so very much for being with us. On the behalf of our youth president, His Excellency Architect Olusegun Olukoya, our Chief of Protocol, His Excellency Dr. Donald Ewers, Bishop Dr. Comfort Adu out of Ghana, out of Ghana. What is wrong with me? I'm trying to say too many things too quickly. On the behalf equally of our COO, Her Excellency Doreen Barunji out of Uganda, and all of the members and friends of the Class of Steel, thank you so very much. On behalf of my beautiful wife, Jeannie Steele, we appreciate you. Good evening and God bless. Bye-bye. Go subscribe. Go subscribe. Go and subscribe. I have to learn. I'm begging you. Subscribe.
Bye, family.
Subscribe. I'm watching. Subscribe.
Bye-bye.
Good night, Jay. Good night, Grandmaster.
Bye, Dr. Comfort. Bye.
Good evening, everybody.
All of your WhatsApp,
Bye-bye.
group should be saying subscribe.
Bye-bye.
WhatsApp group, subscribe.
Yes, we did.
Bye, guys.
Bye,